Hello and welcome to our presentation on our trip to the South, including but not limited to Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia.
So this is us flying in the plane, taking off. Now we're landing in Memphis. The first thing we did in Memphis was we went on a riverboat tour on the Mississippi.
So this is the riverboat tour. We got to see a lot of cool things in Memphis, such as this Memphis sign that's kind of like imitating the Hollywood sign. These are bridges, and we got to see the difference between hand-built bridges and machinery-built bridges. And we saw a lot of other cool things on this river, such as this church, which is super important to the history of Atlanta. And the way it was built is so that people in the church can look out at the river and boats passing while the pastor is preaching. And this is another bridge we saw that Tennessee started to build, but then Alabama, for whatever reason, just decided not to help Tennessee in the building of the bridge.
So this is Beale Street, and it was super important because the blacks, they had a bank there, and that's what made the street like blow up, and so it's super popular as a bunch of businesses.
This is the Bass Pro Shops Pyramid, the most important part of Memphis. Most impressive thing I've ever seen. It is like the holy grail of sporting goods. If you go to Memphis, you do not want to miss out.
Okay, so this is the Lorraine Museum, where we got to learn a lot of things about Martin Luther's journey for civil rights and how much he did just for the black community. We also got to learn the situations of his, like what happened when he was murdered. This is specifically talking about where he was murdered, what he was doing at the time. This is a map of, like a historical map of all the important events in the civil rights movement. And one of the main things is Martin Luther King Jr.'s march on, like, from Memphis to Birmingham, which is where we went, and also to Montgomery, where the capital is in Alabama. These are just newspaper clippings that gave us historical background into the civil rights movement.
We also went to the Rock and Soul Museum. That was kind of cool. We got to hear a lot of the history about like rock and roll and R&B and blues.
This is Shiloh National Park, one of the major battlegrounds of the South. There were a couple typos in the newsletter that we were handed, which Zach found really entertaining. Basically, this was where the North was landing, and the South was like, you can't land here, but the North... Oh, I don't have that.
This is the 16th Baptist Church, which was a huge, like, headquarters of the civil rights movement, and at one point it was even bombed, and 4 innocent girls were killed in the process.
And this is the Kelly Ingram Park, and this is where they had the graves of the 4 little girls. They also show big water cannons and dogs.
Oh, this is the World War I memorial at the train station, memorializing the people of World War I that served.
The Rainbow Division.
Yeah, them.
This is...
The Rosa Parks Museum. They had these really cool buses. There, one was actually kind of like a movie. It was really cool because you could see all the people in Rosa Parks. They also just described like all of the people like going against the buses.
This is the outside of the Freedom Riders Church. We missed out on a lot of the good information inside, but we did get to learn about the Freedom Riders and who they were and everything they did.
And this is the Tuskegee Airfield. We didn't get to go inside because the liberals are stupid and had a mask mandate.
This is the capital of Alabama, Birmingham. We got to walk up to the Capitol building and just see a lot of really interesting stuff about it. There was also little plaques telling us about the history of the state, and it was really interesting.
This is the Edmund Pettus Bridge. This is where all of the blacks marched across the bridge to the Capitol to say, like, hey, we don't want to be, like, segregated. You guys need to stop what you're doing. This is when we drove to Atlanta. They have really big streets.
This is...
Martin Luther King Jr.'s burial site. I stuck my arm in the pool and I got yelled at. They had 6 principles of peaceful protest and the grave of Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife in the middle of a reflecting pool. It was pretty impressive, but I was disappointed that they didn't let me help out. I was just trying to pull coins out of the middle of the fountain. It's not my fault that there were coins in the fountain. I was just helping because your sign said no coins in the fountain.
Yeah, and Trent is also kind of bad at taking pictures
Very
because they're
bad
all
at taking
slanted.
pictures.
It's fine. Don't mind Gabe's historical, like non-historical facts. And this is the Martin Luther King Jr. believed that there could be a community where there was no violence and everyone got together peacefully.
So this is the church where, like, Martin Luther King and his dad, went to. His dad preached there, and this is the sign outside the church. This is the statue of Martin Luther King Sr. holding Martin Luther King Jr., and they each look to different places. His dad looks to his church, and the Martin Luther King Jr. looks to his birthplace, which you're seeing here.
And at the birthplace, we just got to see lots of cool stuff.
This is Kennesaw Mountain, another one of the major battle sites, the South's last holdout in the Major South. We got to hike all the way up to the top of the mountain, saw a historical landmark from the, a historical landmark to all of the infantry divisions and such, and the people that fought there, and yeah.
This is the cyclorama, which was painted by a bunch of German artists to represent a unnamed battle in the Civil War, and there was much debate as to whether it was a southern victory and northern victory because it was changed many times. And then at where the cyclorama was is called the Atlanta Historical Center, and this is pictures of the house that the land was originally owned by. It's called Swan House.
So then we went to the world of Coca-Cola. We saw they actually had a thing of Dickinson, North Dakota, where a Coke plant was made. These are all the Olympic torches that were there, that were sponsored by Coke, and then those are all of the beverages that Coke makes. And then that's the tallest building in Atlanta, and that's just about the end of our presentation.
Yep.
They call it the pencil.
Okay, perfect.
One